15-year-old boy drowned in Portland. The Portland police are reporting that a 15-year-old student of Greendale Spanish Town drowned in the Swift River in Canewood, Hope Bay, Portland on Sunday. Reports so far are that the teenager visited the location on a trip and went swimming in the river when he got into difficulties. Efforts to resuscitate him were futile. The police are investigating. Human skeletal remains found in Portmore. The St. Catherine South Police are trying to identify human skeletal remains that were found in a gully near the Phoenix Vista community in Portmore on Saturday. Residents reportedly stumbled upon the skeletal remains at about 10:20 a.m. and summoned the police. Upon their arrival at Madrid Way, the human remains were discovered near a gully in the community. The remains were moved for storage. The Portmore Criminal Investigations Branch is leading the probe. 62-year-old man shot dead in St. Anne. A 62-year-old man was shot as he sat in his car in Hampstead Square in St. Anne on Saturday, the police noted. He has been identified as Christopher Ramsey from Comfort Hall District in Runaway Bay in the parish. The incident occurred about 8:25 a.m. while Christopher was sitting in his Toyota Probox motor vehicle. Christopher was assisted to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. No official motive has been established in Christopher's death. The Runaway Bay Criminal Investigations Branch is probing the matter. ICE nabbed Jamaican fugitive wanted for murder in St. Lucia. The United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE agency says it has apprehended a Jamaican-born fugitive wanted for murder in St. Lucia who had escaped custody twice. ICE said Orville Andrew Purnell, a 32-year-old Jamaican, was apprehended by its Homeland Security Investigations and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Special Agents in Savannah, Georgia, following an extensive investigation and multinational manhunt. Purnell is accused of committing a brutal murder in St. Lucia in 2020 and had been a fugitive for several years. He escaped from custody in St. Lucia during his murder trial and fled to Jamaica. In 2021, he was arrested in Jamaica and escaped from custody there as well. ICE said the U.S. Border Patrol agent encountered Purnell on December 7, 2022, near San Luis, California, after he attempted to enter the United States using a fake identity. He was paroled into the country and given a notice to appear, ICE noted. In July of 2023, ICE said Purnell was arrested by the Clayton County Sheriff in Clayton County, Georgia, for the possession of stolen motorcycle and attempted to evade arrest. During the arrest, police discovered a stolen 9mm handgun, ICE noted. We are committed to tracking down fugitives who pose a serious threat to public safety, no matter where they may try to hide, stated ICE key agent. This operation highlights our ongoing work to dismantle criminal network and bring violent individuals to justice, he added. We are thankful for our local, state, and international law enforcement partners who help us secure this arrest. I said HSI, working alongside the ATF, located and arrested Purnell after their investigation led them to Savannah area. He was taken into custody without incident, stated ICE, adding that Purnell faces charges of being an alien in possession of a weapon. ICE said that after he was extradited back to St. Lucia, he will stand trial for murder. The agency said HSI Caribbean, Bridgetown, Barbados, and Kingston, Jamaica, provided significant contribution to the investigation and were instrumental in the success of the operation. ICE HSI prioritizes the apprehension of fugitives involved in violent crimes, particularly those who had fled to the United States to evade justice, it noted. Educator and attorney at law Stacey Knight calls for overhaul of Jamaica's education system to bridge gaps. Educator and attorney at law Stacey Knight is calling for a transformation of Jamaica's education system to address existing gaps. She described the system as an educational approach with well-resourced schools for the privileged and underfunded institutions for the disadvantaged. Speaking at a recent education forum at Chartwood Teachers College, Ms. Knight stressed the need to improve primary and secondary education to produce students who are better prepared for advanced learning and modern job opportunities. She also pointed to the gender gap as another concern, noting that boys often underperformed compared to girls and face societal stigma surrounding academic achievement. She emphasized the importance of socio-emotional learning, which she believes could drive the culture change needed to address these learning gaps.
The learning gaps that exist, which is the fifth fundamental principle, is the lack of equity. There are learning gaps at various levels. One of these gaps, what is spoken about, is referred to as sometimes as educational apartheid. And that educational apartheid speaks to almost parallel education systems that we have running, where there is one system for the haves and another for the have-nots, where those who are able to pay for education are guaranteed quality, excellent education, because we do have excellent education being delivered in many schools in Jamaica. But there are those other schools that are under-resourced, understaffed, and unable to deliver that same quality education. That is one type of inequity, gross inequity that we have. We have found that the philosophy that seems to guide education in Jamaica appears from the statistics to favor girls over boys. Boys do not perform as well the way that we traditionally teach. They don't naturally learn in the ways that teaching is delivered in most classrooms in Jamaica. And in fact, the same culture problem exists in that education is seen by many as somewhat sissy-ish. There are some boys, especially when they get to high school stage, who, if they are diligent, if they are bookworms, as we would call them, that's frowned upon. That's not the image that teenage boys want to have, to be studious and focused on education. For girls, it's looked upon as a good thing, but for boys, there are other things that are more attractive and that make them more macho.
Murders down 36%. Jamaica continues to see reduction in major crimes year to date, with murders decreasing by 36% and shooting down 28%, according to the latest statistics released by the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF. The January 1 to April 17, 2025 data also showed a 51.4% reduction in rape over the same period last year. Robberies decreased from 214 to 199, but break-ins increased from 267 to 331. Standing atop the national reduction are the Police Era 1, which comprises of parishes St. James, Westmoreland, Hanover, and Trelawney, with 56.3% and 51% decrease in murders and shooting respectively. The Era 3, Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, and Manchester, with a 53.2% drop in murders and 46.9% reduction in robberies over the comparative periods. The data show a continued trend in reduction in major crimes island-wide, which the government and the JCF has attributed to improved and targeted policing strategies enhanced by increased use of intelligence and technology. Earlier this month, the police reported a 35.9% decline in murders between January 1 and April 5th this year when compared to the same period in 2024. That is a big decline in murders. The JCF's crime data showed that 191 homicides were recorded up to April 5th, and if you look at last year, January 1 to April 5th, there were 298 murders. This year, we have 107 fewer than we did last year. That's 107 less families mourning their children. Minister of Education, Youth Skills and Information, Senator Dr. Dina Marx-Dixon said at a post-cabinet press briefing on April 9. When the numbers were going up, we're all exclaiming in Jamaica, and rightly so. And as the numbers go down, we have to celebrate it. And it's not just the homicide numbers. If we look at the shootings are down by 26%, rape down by 57%, and robberies are down by 7%, Marx-Dixon added. She pointed out that the Police Commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake, in his weekly address to the JCF in the Force Orders, noted that the decrease in murders was the lowest it has been over 25 years. Commissioner Blake also noted that the first quarter also saw the most significant drop in major crimes we've seen since 2001. These reductions are as a result of continued investment in intelligence-led policing, technological upgrades, and strategic partnerships, Senator Marx-Dixon noted. The police commissioner had also highlighted that the first quarter of 2025 marked the 6th consecutive quarter in which murders have declined.
To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.